Let's get to your top story, and this is in regard to Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, speaking about the conversation that Donald Trump has had with Prime Minister Modi. This was a 35-minute conversation. We have all the details of that conversation. Let's go across to my colleague Gauri Dwivedi. Gauri, of course, Prime Minister Modi, they're reiterating India's measured response, talking about Operation Synindur and that no mediation was really required here.
Absolutely, Divya. This is the first phone call that took place between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi since the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack, when President Trump had expressed his shock and condolences. After that, since Operation Synindur, this is the first phone call that has taken place. Extremely important because Prime Minister Modi busted Trump's repeated claims about mediation, about trade talks. All of them has been completely busted again by Prime Minister Modi, the first time he spoke with President Trump. I want to first play out this important soundbite of Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, and then we get in Synindur as well as Mare also to talk more on this. This is the big story that is breaking in. But first up, as I said, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri on Prime Minister Modi setting the record straight when he spoke to President Trump first time since the Pahalgam terror attack. Listen in.
10 मई की रात को पाकिस्तान के हमले का भारत ने बहुत सशक्त जवाब दिया और पाकिस्तान की सेना को बहुत नुकसान पहुंचाया। उसके मिलिट्री एयर बेसिस को इनऑपरेबल बना दिया। भारत के मुंहतोड़ जवाब के कारण पाकिस्तान को भारत से सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने का आग्रह करना पड़ा। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा विस्तार में बताई गई बातों को समझा और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ भारत की लड़ाई के प्रति समर्थन व्यक्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने यह भी कहा कि भारत अब आतंकवाद को प्रॉक्सी वॉर नहीं, युद्ध के रूप में ही देखता है और भारत का ऑपरेशन सिंदूर अभी भी जारी है।
All right, Synindur and Mara Shakil continue to be with us on the big story. Shiv, to you first. This is a very strong, important and a clear message that has come in from the Prime Minister to President Trump. It was expected it could be face-to-face, but given that President Trump cut short his G7 visit, has gone back, this phone call is so important because it sets the record straight, doesn't it? That there was no mediation, no trade talks, nothing. It was Pakistan's request, which is why the ceasefire took place.
You're right, Gauri. This conversation is interesting on so many levels, and there's a lot to unpack when two leaders like Modi and Trump speak for 35 minutes. Imagine how long that conversation actually is. Number one, of course, the context was set. The fact that it was a phone call and not a face-to-face meeting because Trump had to abruptly leave the G7 in light of what's happening between Iran and Israel. The fact that this is the first conversation really after Operation Synindur. The fact that Prime Minister Modi, the big takeaway, of course, is, setting the record straight, clearing any doubts about, the suggestion that there was mediation from the US president's side and that there was absolutely no talk of any trade or any deal or any bargaining chips diplomatically or otherwise during Operation Synindur is something that the Prime Minister has cleared the decks on, settled the debate on, literally in a conversation with the man who made those claims, the US president himself. So it's very interesting, to see what the next steps in that conversation will actually be. Also, Gauri, I find it interesting that President Trump moving away from protocol as he usually does. That is brand Trump, after all. Quipping and inviting Prime Minister Modi to stop by in the United States, on his return from the G7. Obviously, that doesn't happen on a dime. The Prime Minister of India is the Prime Minister of the world's largest democracy. He's busy. He's got a busy schedule as well. He can't suddenly divert his travel plans to stop over in the United States, no matter how important that relationship is. And it is a very important relationship, but he's got other work to do. But I think what this does really, Gauri, is set the stage for that next step. I think what the Prime Minister has done in these 35 minutes is clear the air over any lingering doubts over Trump and the United States administration's role in Operation Synindur, and how what happened was a ceasefire that was forced literally only by Indian action and not because of any external mediation. That's the big takeaway from this.
Indeed, and the two leaders have agreed that they will meet shortly as and when schedules align. Prime Minister Modi is now going to be in Croatia, in Zagreb. One of the reasons why he couldn't just stop over to the US. So let me now rope in Bharat Shakil as well. Bharat, there is also the political side of it. There have been multi-party delegations that have gone in where the government's view, the government's position with regard to cross-border terrorism has been very clearly and succinctly put forth to the world. And now with the Prime Minister setting the record straight with the man himself, this puts to rest any doubts, any issues that may have raised politically and back home.
Yes, that's right. And multiple opposition leaders, particularly leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi himself, had been questioning as to what really was the role of Donald Trump and the U.S. administration. Because Donald Trump, if you remember, Gauri, had put out on Truth Social that it was because of U.S. intervention that a ceasefire agreement was reached between India and Pakistan. And thereafter we heard from the Indian side. And not once, but on multiple occasions, he had used, his handles and social handles, and also had spoken about the role of U.S. administration and particularly his role. So I think with this, the entire record has been set straight. I think after this, the opposition in India will also not be able to question the role of, U.S. administration, and was there any kind of trade deal in talks which forced India to agree for a ceasefire. India and Prime Minister Modi clearly saying that India has never accepted third-party mediation and will not do so at all with regards to its equation or relationship with Pakistan. Prime Minister Modi emphasizing that India will now treat acts of terrorism not as proxy actions but as acts of war. So I think that message that is coming in from Prime Minister Modi to Donald Trump becomes very, very important. It's a message also going to the domestic audience.
Absolutely, Mara. I'm going to leave it there. Really appreciate you joining us live on that very important story. And Shiv, appreciate you joining us on a day when there's so much happening, and more is likely to happen during the course of the day. But setting the record straight with the president is so important. And thanks much for giving us that perspective.